What's going on, YouTube? Aaron Trevino here, back with another wonderful episode down here in the beautiful state of Texas. We have a guest from Gibson Legacy Group in beautiful Austin, Texas. We have Dante Gibson. How you doing today, Dante?
Hey man, I'm doing awesome. Glad to be on.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know it's been a while. I'm glad we could reconnect. And out of anybody that I follow on social media, I definitely enjoy following you. So he's Dante the developer.
Yeah, Dante developer, yep, on social
That's
media.
right. Yeah, I was trying to remember exactly the tag, but I love your stuff online, Dante. You're always offering a fresh perspective and keeping it positive too. So honored to have you on the show tonight.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Glad to be on. Uh, I wish you was still in Austin, but you down in Houston, so it's okay. It ain't that far away.
Yeah,
But
yeah, it ain't that far. I mean, it's obviously great connection with with great people in the industry like you as well. And Houston's not too far of a drive. I try to come into town for some UT football games when I can.
yeah, that's cool, man. I haven't been to a UT game in like a couple of years, so really not a big UT fan, but don't let me.
Uh-oh,
I'm,
you got to
I'm really,
keep quiet in Austin.
yeah, I'm really Ohio State fan, so like I don't even know why. I've never even been to Ohio, but I like
Uh,
Ohio State football.
yeah, they got nice uniforms. I like the helmets.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely, Dante. Well, again, honored to have you on the show tonight. I know a bit about what you do, but for those of us who aren't too familiar with you, would you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm a real estate developer, man. I've been building homes for about the last 2 years. Um, kind of got into development, started building homes during the pandemic. In 2020, probably around October 2020, there towards the end of 2020. Um, but I started as a agent walking through development, walking through houses, looking at what builders did in Austin. I was like, well, I want to do this. I want to take my crack at building homes, man. I ain't never built a home before. I just wanted to do it. But doing that, um, I was working with a lender and um, helping him sell his home that he needed to get sold off the market. It was off market at first, and then we ended up putting it on the market. I did a GC work on it to finish it out. But other than that, man, that's kind of how I got started in real estate. Started with an agent, worked my way up to a developer now. So yeah, it's that's kind of my story. I'm married with three boys. Been married 19 years. My wife is actually in business with me. She's the designer for our company. She does all the designs in our houses. I don't take no credit for that. She does all the design work. So, but yeah, my two boys, I got two boys. Three boys. Two of them are 22 years old, and one is 14. Finna be 15 this month. So, hey, life is good when you got boys. Not saying I don't like girls, but man, I like my boys. So,
Yeah, of course. I know that you show some pretty cool basketball videos as well online. So it's
oh
always neat to see that. Obviously athleticism is in the blood, right?
yeah, definitely. I was an athlete growing up. I played football, played basketball. Um, my son, he's a different level though. I was never that good at 14. I don't even know where he get it from, but he's focused and determined like me. So he don't think there's limits to where he can go, and I don't think there's limits to where I can go. The only limit is me. So if there's no if the sky's the limit, then there's no limit to where I can go. And he believes the same thing. He believes he's going to the NBA at the age of 3 years old. He's like, I'm going to the NBA. He don't believe there's a limit on where he can go. My wife don't believe there's a limit on where she can go. So our family has adopted that we live in a where we can be limitless in this world and not be limited by where we came from, our race, how we grew up, our parents. No matter how we grew up, we are not limited based on that. It's because there's too much information, too many books, too much podcasts, too many things out here that we can learn from and grow and be better people. And then we can actually teach our kids to do the same. So we have a household full of uh, determined, focused human beings over here.
I love to hear it, Dante. And I know, I love to hear that sort of mentality. Obviously, the family is full of winners, right? And I could tell from the jump when we met, because we met during a weird time during 2020, the economy, real estate in Austin. I mean, sure, it was hot, but it was weird. It was a weird time.
Yeah, yeah,
But
definitely.
but what
Yeah,
really, I mean, what really stuck out to me about you and your wife was the sense of optimism and positivity and courage that you guys had. And I looked at y'all and I said, damn, these people are going the distance. So I can definitely recognize that. And I think it's so cool.
yeah, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. So, I'm curious as well. I know you mentioned, a bit about your wife, a bit about your boys, what you guys do. You live in Austin. Could you also talk a bit about maybe about your background growing up? When you were coming up as a kid, did you see yourself working in the real estate business, or how did that
Yeah.
happen?
So, oh man. So my granddad, uh, okay, so growing up in North Carolina, um, my mom, my dad, they work hard. They're extremely hard workers. They stayed on their job, one job. I don't even know when they started. It seemed like it was there forever. You know, I just knew growing up, that's all they did. They worked. My mom, my dad worked. They both worked at the same job. None of them quit their jobs. So in that, I already knew I can't quit. Right? They built that within me, seeing them work every day. So, but my mom and my dad, um, they didn't stay married long, but at the end of the day, I didn't. They stayed so close to each other that I would see both of them all the time. It was no like living in like most divorced kids. They kind of see one parent more than they see the other. Or, but no, I saw my dad and my mom plenty growing up, but they work ethic. My mom stayed on her job, I think 30 years. My dad stayed on his job for like 40 years. It's like they consistently work hard. My granddaddy, on the other hand, he owned my dad too. My dad owned a food truck company, so he got into the entrepreneur thing for a little bit. But my granddad, he owned a concrete company. So I went to work with him after high school. I was like, man, this is not for me. I'm breaking my back out here. This is too hot. My skin is getting darker. I'm already feel like I'm a little dark skinned anyway. I was like, I'm gonna be purple by the time I finish fit out here with my granddaddy. This is not it. But I would see him go to different neighborhoods. He pouring concrete and businesses, and he pouring concrete. And I was just like, man, what? Who's paying him? My mind always went to like, who's paying him to come and do these jobs? What do they do? Because I just decided like this is not for me. Now I have family members still in it. Now they doing successful. They really successful in the concrete business. My granddaddy built a great concrete company with his brother. They really did great things with it. It showed me another side of being an entrepreneur. But man, I just like I can't do this hard manual labor. Yeah, this is too hard, and the pay wasn't good. So it was like no. Now I know I'm 17. I know I don't deserve to get paid $30 an hour, but the pay wasn't great. Like I was like, I can go work at McDonald's and Burger King, make the same amount of money and with AC. It was like that's how I felt about it. But other than that, man, I learned how to be an entrepreneur from my family. My dad, like I said, he owned a food truck. He converted. He did it himself. Never owned a restaurant before. He was a great cook. He's a great cook, but never owned a restaurant. He did it like without any experience in this business. He worked as a newspaper in a newspaper company, but decided to go into the food truck industry without ever being in it. And he had to learn as he go. He made mistakes, but it was a flourishing company. Like he did a great job with it. I remember working with him plenty of times on that food truck. This is when food trucks weren't even as popular as it is today. You're talking about 20 years ago. Yeah, so 20 years ago he owned a food truck, which is ridiculous, right? Uh, but yeah, that's kind of how I learned how to be an entrepreneur. And then I went to the Marine Corps at the age of 18, 19 years old. I went in the Marines. Um, and being in the Marines, it taught me discipline, being consistent, being on time, being early, working hard. Um, um, but in the Marines, that's where I picked up books. Because internet wasn't really a big thing during that time, but I had books. I was a advocate reader. I was going through some family issues, and then I was like, you know what? While I'm at work, going downtown, I'm just gonna read. And I picked up Rich Dad Poor Dad. I picked up real estate books during that time, and then I began to develop this interest for real estate. Um, and I got into other businesses as I was in the Marines, like network marketing, things like that, selling satellite dishes and things like that, just to figure out how I get in sales. And I got mentored by this guy named David Jennings. I remember him. It's been over 20 some years. He made 85,000 a month. I thought that was like that's a lot of money still today, right? 85,000 a month, right? Doing teaching us, and I would call him on the phone. Like I had this guy number, personal number. I would call him on the phone. I would talk to him, and he would just like pour into me about dreams and about never been a victim. Don't be taking on the victim mentality. You don't know unless you ask somebody. You don't know what their answer going to be. Keep pursuing your dreams. So man, I was just dedicated on doing that. Then I got married to my wife now. We've been married 19 years, and our first couple of dates, man, I would take her around to big neighborhoods to look at mansions, uh, and she asked me, "Why are you taking me around to look at mansions?" I was like, "Girl, if I wanted to take you, I'll tell you where I'm trying to get to. If I would take you to a trailer park, nothing wrong with trailer park. I grew up in one, but if I was taking you to a trailer park, I'm not I'm not showing you where I'm trying to go,
Mhm.
right? So I'm showing you where I'm trying to get to. Now, it's weird because I'm riding around these expensive neighborhoods and I'm in my little Honda, and man, we could have got shy or said that we looking to case the joint. I mean, literally, we was riding around slow. I was pointing at houses. I was like, look at that house. You know, but nah, there ain't nobody said anything, man. We were just riding around looking at mansions and going to the beach. I look at beach houses. Real estate has always been something I've been after pursuing for a long time. So
Absolutely. And that's such a neat journey for you, right? I mean, obviously, I guess number one, the entrepreneurship was kind of in the blood, and it's cool having a family member really jump into something. And it's interesting now how we kind of live in this world that's very maybe kind of like, I don't know if this is a word, but hyper credentialized, right? Where are your credentials? You need to have X amount of experience to even start this. But at the
oh
end
yeah,
of the day, back in the day, what were people doing? Just what he did, right? He just started.
just started. No experience, no college degrees, no. I came from a family that didn't have college degrees, and there's no bragging in that. We didn't let school, not having school, stop us. We didn't let oh well, we got to be having a PhD or a doctorate degree to figure out whether we're going to be entrepreneurs or not. Um, not saying I grew up wealthy or anything, but I never wanted for anything like that. I never um, wanted for what I was going to eat today or the next day or my lights being cut off. I didn't live like that, you know. But at the end of the day, I seen the struggles from my parents. I seen them, struggle and but they survived, man. They really didn't let their circumstances stop them from having what they wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing you mentioned I thought was interesting as well, just given that we're, living in this new information age, right? This new kind of culture that, this digital culture that we've never really been part of until now.
Yeah,
And a few words you mentioned were interesting were victim mentality, which it seems like it's really prevalent in today's society. Could you kind of maybe someone's kind of beaten down, maybe they're having a hard time right now, maybe struggling financially in their relationships. How would you suggest someone to kind of stay away from that victim mentality and kind of move towards the positive side?
oh, just like if you was an alcoholic and you went to Alcoholics Anonymous and they would tell you you got to acknowledge that you're an you're alcoholic. Most people got to acknowledge that they using victimhood. They have to acknowledge that they are saying they're a victim in their circumstances, right? So they got to first take accountability within themselves to say, who put me in this situation? Who put me in this predicament? Did and not blame, because I mean, man, we have this blame society where we blaming our parents, we want to blame the coaches, we want to blame the teachers, we want to blame somebody for where we at today. And that's not the case. Where we at today is basically based off you as the individual and the information that you're receiving, because you are what you eat. You know, if you eating bad, your health will be bad, right? If you're eating good, your health gonna be good. So you are what you eat. So if you're digesting crap all day, which is not, sometimes social media, sometimes you get caught up on social media where you spend 3 hours looking at TikTok. If you're getting caught up in that world, then you're feeding yourself that. But if you're feeding yourself information for your life, like books, podcasts, uh, valuable information that's going to take you to another place, get a mentor, take some classes, take some courses, um, figure out a way to get out of that victimhood cycle, you'll realize, man, this stuff is not hard.
Yeah.
This opportunity is not hard. The things are not hard. It's just that my mindset has caused me to think that I'm a victim. And then what I'm watching is constantly feeding me that I'm a victim. And you got to get out of that. Just break from all those norms, social norms, and just break into another, like go on a social media fast or go on a reading, looking at TV fast. You know, like 30 days, turn it off, and don't care about what's going on in the world. Try to figure out what's going on in your world within this brain right here. Because this is where it's at. It lies in between your eyes. How far you can go.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. And I can definitely tell, Dante, when, a lot of the stuff you post on social media and also, your words, I can tell that you work on your mindset a lot. And I
Oh
always
yeah.
appreciate, seeing people that are putting in that sort of work, because it's almost like flexing a muscle, right? You're having to do it all the time.
All the time, man. If you don't, I always say it's your brain is a computer system. It's the best computer system that you got, because if you ain't putting more information in this computer, say like my brother always talking about my phone, right? Because I don't have a lot of apps on my phone. But he was like, man, you ain't benefiting what this iPhone can really do until you put enough information on this iPhone, right? So my brain is the same way. If I'm not putting enough information in it, then I'm not allowing it to grow. So I'm constantly feeding myself information, man. Me and my wife, man, we've looked at our library. And I was like, man, when we buy all these books, but what we was doing during the pandemic was, and I told my family and I told friends this. I said, there's two people that's gonna come out of this pandemic, out of 2020. It's gonna be those who are winners, those who are losers. There's only two people that's gonna come out of it, and you're gonna be able to separate this. Those people are gonna separate themselves, and there's gonna be a drastic separation between the winners and the losers. I mean, financially, mentality wise, none of it, like it's going to be a drastic shift in that. And you're going to be, if you ain't on the side of winning, you're going to blame people for your success, not having success, right? So me and my wife, man, what we did during the whole pandemic, we worked outside, exercised outside. When they shut down the gyms, we went outside. You know, when they shut down restaurants, we went outside. We walked, we did everything outside, and then we started reading books.
Mm.
And we spend days reading books. We spend listening to audiobooks while we're in the car, instead of turning on the news, hearing the body count of how many people died during the pandemic. We listening to books, audiobooks about our mindsets changing, our shifting, and how we can grow, and all these different things. And man, it just shifted. It shifted our minds, man, and I believe that my mind is the very thing that um, will carry me forward, man, and carry me to much success. It's my mentality in my mind.
Absolutely. And it's neat. I know that we talked earlier about it kind of being a muscle that you're flexing, during that pandemic when, people were panicking, right? They were freaking out. There were a lot of things in the economy, lumber prices, the dollar. I can really see how a lot of that mental toughness can kind of translate to
Yeah.
our new, I guess our new mission or really is getting through these next 12 months where, again, there's that uncertainty, right? We have lumber prices, we have the US dollar, we have all these different things going on. What do you make of the current market right now?
Oh man, that, look. So me and my wife was having a discussion. I got to be honest. Me and my wife having a discussion. You sent me some questions about it, about the podcast and what to talk about, and I was nervous. I ain't gonna lie, I was nervous, man, because I'm a person that speak my mind, um, and sometimes it comes off as uh, offensive to some, and some are motivated by it because sometimes you're gonna offend people, not on purpose. You're not trying to do it on purpose because you're not that type of person to offend people. But there are some things that hit people differently. Like if you're in a situation and you're struggling in life, what someone says might offend you because it's hitting you in your heart. It's hitting you right where I need to change that. And change is hard and difficult. So when you are talking to people, it hits them sometimes in a different way. So we were discussing this market situation. I was like, can I be honest, or do I tote the line, or do I go under? What do I do? And she was like, just be yourself. So I'm gonna answer this as myself. So I believe that the current market situation is set up for those who taking advantage of it, right? Um, if you look at interest rates, and historically interest rates been at 7%, 8% historically, that's a good economy. That's actually a thriving economy. I think the overprinting of money in the past 2 years have caused people to it's a fake economy, right? People got rich on a fake economy, right? Bitcoin, Dogecoins, all these coins are cryptocurrency. A lot of people got crypto rich, right? And people got rich through printing of money, but it's fake, right? It's a fake economy. So the economy, you look at 2% interest rates on mortgages and something like that. That's a fake economy. That's a bad economy. That's not sustainable. It's never been a history of America to have 3% interest rate on mortgages, 2% interest rates on mortgages. That's a bad economy. And no matter what people think, that is a bad economy. So if you're at 6 to 7% on your mortgage, I mean that's a pretty solid balanced economy. Um, and you want it that way because it's allows those who are really working hard to be able to thrive and be on top in this economy. Because we set our own economy, really, you know. But the market, man, it is what it is. Historically, we've been at this point before. We're going to be at this point again. Real estate's a trend, 7-year trend, 8-year trend. Just in Austin, we just so happen to be in a thriving work environment. Tesla and all these different entrepreneurs are coming here. But at the end of the day, it's the market, man. You set your own economy. You don't let any market dictate what you're going to do or how far you're going to go.
Yeah, and that's a great distinction to make is you being your own economy. And a lot of people maybe kind of going back to that victim mentality, they don't see it that way. Maybe they see it as I'm a victim of circumstance, whatever the economy throws at me is what, those are the cards that I'm dealt. But I guess what you're suggesting is, kind of creating your own value and offering a product that people will need.
Oh yeah, definitely. I believe that. I believe wholeheartedly, no matter what market you're in, you are solely control of that market. You dictate your price, you dictate the value that you give, um, and no one is in control of your household besides you, right? So I have people around me that I know, not going to be specific about it, complain about situations they're in. And I don't it's hard for me to subscribe to that when I know how I was raised. I know the things I went through to subscribe to that victim. I'm no, no. You have opportunity to create your own economy. You don't have to bow down to the government or to society norms or whatever the issues are. You don't have to do that. You can just create your own. Find a way to create your own, and take some classes, some
Yeah.
courses. Like really, there's some people out here that's offering real estate courses, entrepreneurial courses. Now you gotta weed through the mess to make sure that you're signing up for the right one and make sure those people actually have legit projects. Because what you see on social media don't mean that person have.
Mm. Yeah, and that's absolutely something to think about as well. Kind of, that shiny object syndrome. Maybe it looks good online, but at the end of the day, you have to do your own research and really see, hey, is this worth the time and the money, right?
Right. Yes, sir. That's it.
Yeah,
And you got to create your own way, man. Create your own way. There's no there, there's no limit on this, man. You got to create your own way, your own skills, putting the work in. If you're in sales, you got to master sales. You got to go find people that's in sales to teach you how to do sales. You know what I'm saying? Like, uh, there's so much information and valuable information on YouTube, social media, the good stuff. Now, don't throw away the bad stuff. Don't be on social media looking at the latest topic of the day, like the hot topics of the day. Like, find someone that you can actually gain some information from and get mentorship from.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely. And I can see that, that's also what you do with your development group, right? Obviously, you've had a real neat journey to kind of put you in position to where you're at now. And I know we talked about interest rates, but, from what you're seeing in the market, how do you see that builders and developers right now are being impacted by interest rates? So if they go up, is building going to slow down or vice versa, or how would it work?
honestly, man, I think that this actually weeding out those who are jumped in the market to take advantage of people. You know, I think people jumped in because they seen this. Oh, this is a hot time to build houses, and let me jump in it now because I can take advantage of people and I can put builder grade material in a house and people will still pay for it. It don't challenge. It don't. What's now is challenging you to be creative in your building, and it's weeding out those who just jumped in the market just to take advantage of the market, right? So I'm around builders all the time. We talk all the time, and some builders have a mentality of people just going to buy my product because I put it together instead of looking at what people want, right? Um, what separates us in building is we study the market, we study the trends, and we put custom design in homes. We don't just put uh, builder finishes and because we want to be cheap on this end, and so we can break in a profit on this end. No, we want people to buy our homes. We want people to go in and love them homes and live in them and spend the next 30 years in those homes without changing anything because those homes are timeless. And that's how we believe. That's how we approach every home we build is
Absolutely.
is build timeless homes. So interest rates don't affect those who actually build in timeless homes. Interest rates affect those who got in the game early during the hot market and then try to squeeze out a big profit at the end. That's who it affects. It affects those builders who just jumped in the game. And now I see it where I'm at, where I'm building at, that these builders have brought all these lots in 2020, and now they selling them fast. They get trying to get rid of them because they jumped in and thinking that they can make a big huge profit and not really bring people um, a home that they don't have to change anything, right? So a lot of times, I give you an example. I go out there and I'm building homes, and sometimes I go through other builders' homes just to see what they're doing, and I see the same thing. Five builders building five different homes, but have the same product in each home, and I was like, this is why your homes are not selling. You're not willing to really catch on. And say, for instance, I can give you an example: freestanding tubs. We put freestanding tubs in all our homes. Freestanding tubs, you can get a freestanding tub for $1,000. But they'd rather put a box tub in a home and at 700. Instead of spending an extra 200 for a freestanding tub, they put the box tub and build a box around it and for $700. And they spend actually more money because the tub costs 700, and then they have to put the shell around the tub, which is another $500 to $600. And they end up spending more money on this shell around a tub that look like an apartment tub. And it's just like it's they stuck, man. It's sometimes they're stuck in the stone ages of building. And this right here, what this teaching people is you have to separate yourself. And whatever that is, you can't look at the bottom line. You always got to look at the end game of building homes. You got to look at, I'm going to be building for the next 10 to 15 years. I can't look at it's going to be a 1 year stint for me.
Mm, absolutely.
So,
And that's a great point to make. You really having that long-term vision and not just thinking, hey, this is what I'm doing the next 6 months. This is what I'm doing for the next 30 years. So, maybe someone's just jumping into the building and developing game right now, or they've been at it for a while and they're looking to scale up, either one. Um, I'm just curious as well, if someone were to start, we're kind of in this economy and people aren't sure what's going to happen. Let's say they do start building. Is the builder risking potentially taking a loss for, doing all that work, right, with interest rates, or what do you think about that?
Well, no, I don't think they're taking a loss. The reason why is I gotta say this. Damn, just trying not to offend nobody, man.
Hey, it's all good. No
I
judgment
gotta
zone.
catch it. Like I'm not trying to offend nobody or financially
Yeah.
where they're at, financially, because sometimes they do work jobs that where they have caps on their income. That there's our jobs that are, you paid at a higher rate. So what's happening is this: if when interest rates goes up on mortgages, um, income stays the same, right? So people that normally wanted to buy in this market dealt with multiple offers, multiple offers in the past 6 months, 7 months, and the interest rates went up. So now they like, man, I don't want to buy, or I'm afraid to buy because I'm using a certain loan program, right? So people that are using the VA, FHA, those loan programs are capped out with how much they can put down, right? And how much they can borrow. When you're using conventional, you can put 20% down, pay down. You're only paying a smaller percentage of a mortgage, right? I'll give you an example. We sold a house at 570K. A person that put down 20% will have to put down 114,000 dollars for that 20% mortgage, right? That actually they only financing like 420,000. A person that's using the VA is financing at 0%, no money down, well not 0%, but 7% with no money down. They financing 570K. The person that's using the FHA is 570. They gonna finance 3.5%. They're gonna put down 20K. They financing 550. So who actually has the better loan product? It's the person with the conventional loan because they're paying less on their mortgage. So it's not that people can't buy homes. It's the fact that certain things and what loan they use affects their buying power. So, and sometimes it's an income cap. Like if you ain't making enough money, you got to use what you got, right? You got to use the VA, you got to use FHA. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're making a certain amount of money and you can afford to put down, you have a 401k, that savings, you can use the conventional loan. And that's the better product because you actually put more money down, and the house, you only financing a small portion of that home, even at 7% interest. So that's kind of the breakdown of what I see and why I don't think you can take a loss is because people will still buy your homes if it's done right.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great point to make as well. Really, you not just pointing out that, hey, I'm a home buyer, but, also thinking about, hey, I'm a home buyer, but also what financing, stipulations am I under, right? Maybe I have a bigger loan. Maybe I put more down, so I have a smaller loan, right? So
Right.
it's, I guess, important to recognize that, if you're building, someone would buy those homes.
Right. And then they have programs. Mortgages have programs where builders can offer incentives to give back to the buyer to pay down their interest rate for at least a year.
Mm.
Like we can offer like interest buy down package with a mortgage partner with a mortgage company, and we can offer an interest buy down to where we give you 10,000 towards closing, and it pays down your interest rates to 4% for at least 1 year. And then the market shifts in a year, you refinance, you still within that ball game of being able to pay your mortgage, right? So those are different things that we offer on when you have a good product to offer. But and there's some builders out there offering that, but they still ain't selling their homes because they built trashy homes. Not really dissing them, but they built lower grade homes and they want high end prices. No, you can't get that. That's not how this market gonna work for you. Because right now we got so much inventory, people can choose what they want. So if you're not really putting all that in to the home, they're gonna choose. They're not gonna buy a house. So the way you separate yourself, you build your home like, okay, so I give you another example. We got a home right now we building. It hit the market probably, I want to say January. I don't want to put it on the market in December because December is slow. Christmas, holidays, Thanksgiving, all of that slows the market down naturally. January, that's when things start pick back up. People after Christmas, after holidays, get used to what the economy is doing, see that they can survive, see they can. But what we did, man, we just mastered um, two massive two-story home. Not even massive, but it got views of golf courses, views of hill country. We put an outdoor kitchen in with a stove, with fire pit. We actually maybe we might have had it over designed it, but at the end of the day, it's the nicest house within a 10-mile radius, even for new construction, right? They're getting all those things and they don't have to go in and redo their backyard. They get to go in and it's a finished backyard. And they get to enjoy being outside, enjoy the fire pits, enjoy in outdoor kitchens, and it comes with that. And you spend a little bit of extra money, but there's a reward when your house sells. When you put it on the market and somebody put an offering on it, and then people are like, man, why are your houses selling? Why your house is selling and mine's still sitting on the market? Ah, because we did a little bit extra. We
Yeah.
did a little bit more.
It's just a little bit of that extra, right? A little bit of extra effort that's really, kind of putting you guys over the top. So I think that's so cool.
Yep. We have two houses that sold, and they interest rates was at 6%.
Mm.
But it was their dream home. Like we designed it and it was their dream home and they didn't care about the 6%. They're like, we'll finance later. We'll refinance later. They didn't care about the interest rate. It was their dream home. And when you build something and it's somebody's dream home, it'll sell.
Absolutely. And, I think that's a great story as well, because, people, especially for maybe, first time builders, first time developers, first time home buyers, you hear about, oh my gosh, they're increasing interest rates and the sky is falling. It's going to, God knows what it's going to lead to. But if anything, what you just mentioned, hey, if it's their dream home, you have a great product, they're going to buy it. And, you're happy as a builder and they're happy as a client, right?
Yeah, it is. We have a client right now that brought a home and she was like, okay, I got a list. I'm gonna get a list ready. And we never got the list.
Mm.
We never got the list. She said, I have a list. There's a few things I'm looking at. Okay, I see that. She never emailed me the list. I called, I texted, I said, hey, what the list that? She said, this is my dream home. Ain't nothing wrong with this house. I love this home, right? So whatever minor detail didn't matter.
Yeah.
She loved it. It was her dream home. And that's a great feeling. I was in the backyard looking, I was working on a house. The house that sold is behind another house I have listed. And I was in the house and I was doing an open house in it. And I was in the backyard looking at her kids play. And that's the greatest feeling in the world when you know that you're responsible for a family being able to enjoy what you built. Because that house came with a pool. So they outside swimming and throwing stuff, dogs running around. It's like the greatest feeling in the world when you know that you were responsible for someone to spend Christmas, holidays, and family moments in your home. And they text you and say, there's nothing wrong, man. We love this house. This house is my dream home. That's a great feeling.
Yeah, and I'm sure that that's a great feeling for you, as a businessman, and I'm assuming as a husband and as a father as well, on so many different levels. Just you knowing that, hey, I'm not only making a living, I'm also making an impact too.
Making an impact. Yep.
Absolutely. And I'm curious as well, Dante, obviously, you talked a bit about your wife, a bit about your sons, you're obviously big on family. If you wouldn't mind, could you also talk maybe about how becoming a husband or a father has maybe changed your approach as a businessman?
Oh yeah, man. That's my why. You know, that's my why. My son plays AU basketball. My oldest ones are out the home, so they're figuring out their own journey, which proud of them. They are handling their own journey. If they need me, I'm willing to help. At the end of the day, you gotta let your kids figure things out on their own. But I got a 14-year-old, well, he'll be 15 in a couple of days, well, 30 days from today, really. Yeah, 30 days from today. Um, he is basketball year round,
Mm.
very expensive, like nationwide. We go to different states and travel and different cities. We went to Indiana, Orlando, back to back. We were gone 14 days. That's expensive. That's not a cheap journey. So that's a reason why I'm hustling and working hard, and because that's very expensive to carry. My wife, she's oh man, that's my son is only gonna be with me for another 4 years, and he's going to college or wherever he's got to go. My wife gonna be with me for however long, see however long she's alive, however long I'm alive, and so I have to really uh do it. I do it for my family, man. I don't. She don't ask for anything. You know, I have a my wife don't ask me for anything. She don't ask me for new cars, new houses, new rings. She don't ask me for anything. And that's takes a lot of pressure off and allow you to really go out and give her the world because she don't ask me for anything. You know, uh, I believe that if you and this is my relationship advice, if you were someone that's constantly pressuring you to buy them things and show them things and take them here, take them there, then your why is materialistic. Your why becomes a very materialistic why. My why is always internal. It's an internal why. It's a why that's driven by me, basically being able to give to my wife without her asking for anything, right? So, man, it's my kids don't ask me for anything. You know, I have a 14-year-old. He asks me all the time for stuff, but it's not major things. But I have an internal why, man. I don't have no. It's not materialistic. So that's kind of where my family lies is very internal. And then I have nieces and nephews that I love dearly, and family members that I love dearly. Man, 17 nieces and nephews uh, that I set up things for later in life, right?
Yeah.
So we're working on a trust right now, me and my wife, so that if something ever happened to me and her, uh, all my nieces and nephews are taken care of. I love their parents. Their parents are doing a great job with them, but I'm the patriarch of my family, and so I have to set things apart and do things differently.
Absolutely. And that's a great message to hear, right? Because if anything, today, a lot of times, that doesn't happen, or it's not talked about, right? People aren't having these open conversations about, trust, leaving a legacy, being that sort of patriarch and father, for the family. So I think that's great.
Yeah, man, that's a principle I live by. A Bible scripture I live by said, "A good man leaves inheritance for his kids' kids," um, and so I mean that's a scripture that I live by. It's planted in my heart that in order for me to be a good man when I leave this earth, I'm gonna leave a legacy for my kids and their kids and their kids. Not that they have to enshrine me on a wall, is that their principles and mentality is gonna be generation to generation.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful message to hear as well. And I could, I could tell there was something great there, especially after we did that power couple video, earlier. And I,
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool to see.
Oh man, that doing that, man. You know, we tell people our story and people be like, "Oh my God, y'all need a TV show. Y'all need to be on HGTV." You know, and my wife put on a vision board HGTV. But I gotta before we leave this podcast, I gotta tell you what we got coming down because you ain't gonna believe that. It's gonna be a shocker, man. And it's fell in our lap, man. Sometimes you be nice to people. Sometimes you talk to people when you go sit down and eat. You are friendly and things you begin to talk. And I tell you, when we get to the finish of the interview, I'll tell you exactly what our next moves are. And so people can have this, people will know where we're going and people will see it.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. And I can definitely tell, obviously you're a man that wears many different hats. You have a lot of different aspects of your business. So, I know it's going to be pretty cool to hear the full story about, what y'all have for the future.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. It's gonna be awesome, man. It's gonna be something that's groundbreaking. I'm putting some things together as well with other realtors and other real estate because it's really I want to build a massive company. I want to build things that that kind of have different branches and wings within inside the organization. Uh, you know, we as you know in this real estate industry, um, there's a few brokers that have great real estate agents. There's a mortgage company that have great mortgage officers. There's developers that have this and there, but there's no one powerhouse company. There's no let's get together and build this one company where we can have a development wing, construction wing, we have a mortgage wing, we have a realtor wing, we have lending wing for hard money loans or whatever. And that's kind of my next within the next couple of years. I want to launch that. I'm start interviewing agents and talk to mortgage brokers and kind of put this thing together because I believe that um, that's another way of creating your own economy is creating within inside the organization of where people can come in and be like Walmart and get one-stop shop. You want to learn how to build houses? We got a wing for that. If you looking for somebody to build you not we don't do custom homes, but we'll do spec homes. We got a wing for that. We got that in the pipeline, and I think that that's kind of what my vision going forward for the next couple of years is to launch a legacy group to where we have everything within inside this legacy group. And I gave you a nugget on my little next couple of years moves.
Yeah.
But in order to get there, there's some steps I'm taking now to get to that point. Um, I'm a big advocate of helping people, help people, and where I see that there's a lack in this area, I want to be able to fill it over here. If you want to get into development, you don't know how. I want to teach you how to get to development, teach you how to get to building homes. If you want to fix and flip, I want to teach you how to figure that out too as well. So there's avenues I want to be able to do, and then mortgage people over here, like you don't have to in this economy, most people separate themselves and go on their own journey instead of trying to figure out how to partner together and bring those pieces together and build one solid company without any, one CEO or one head to take it over, kind of like Knights of the Round Table. I'm trying to build something like a Knights of the Round Table where we have 12 different wings and we all sit at a round table and talk about, and there's no head, there's no figurehead, there's no who's the boss, but we all come together and figure out how to help each other through this journey, no matter what the financial situation looks like, no matter what the world does. And I believe if you offer that and you're really genuine in doing that, putting that together, I believe we can accomplish anything.
Absolutely. And that definitely ties back into at the beginning of the show. You were talking about, hey, being your own economy. So I think it's so cool, you wanting to kind of put it all under one umbrella, like, hey, I'm the one-stop shop for your development, your hard money, your,
Yep.
the brokerage side, whatever it may be. I think that's so cool.
Yeah. There's brokers out here, there's people out here that's trying to lone wolf it and they feeling the pinch of struggling. And if we have a development wing as you a realtor, there's a listing. You know what I'm saying? We work with each other. You have listings attached to the company. So you automatically don't have to struggle with going out there chasing out the listings when we're building houses within inside our organization.
Mhm.
So, we that's kind of where our mentality, me and my wife mentality is. So it's to build that and get that going within the next couple of years. Maybe faster than that. Because I'm kind of more of a person that has speed and work on speed. So if I'll probably say a couple of years and then I'll be done in 6 months. So
I love it. I love it. I love that you're ambitious because it's crazy. It's one of those things you set yourself a definite goal, and then
yeah.
before you know it, maybe you're already there. You're like, dang, that was quick.
Oh, that's quick, man. We got goals that we set on our wall by the end of the year, and before you know it, we knocking them down. It's like, yo, hold up, that happened.
Uh-huh.
That we knocked that one down,
Yeah.
and we didn't do it on purpose. We didn't like go out and strategically plan to knock it down. We just set ourselves up to where that opportunity is coming, and then we knock that part of it down. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I love to hear, about y'all's mentality and, what you guys have for the future. And, Dante, is there anything you haven't said thus far you'd really just like to hit home for us tonight?
I think there was one question I wanted to answer that you sent me, and I was like, I'm not gonna answer, but I am gonna answer because that's who I am. That's exactly who I am.
Yeah, yeah. Go for it.
You was gonna ask me, uh, how has inflation affected building costs over the past 6 months? All right, so let me tackle that. How inflation affected building costs. So materials are cheap. Like buying material is not expensive. What's expensive is labor
Mm,
because with inflation, labor goes up, right? So the more money that the government prints, it causes inflation. So when you see people like entitlement programs, different things they want to print off as far as inflation is concerned, what caused inflation. Inflation is not caused by a war in Russia or Ukraine, whatever that's going on over there. That's not what caused inflation. Inflation was caused during the pandemic when people kept getting stimulus checks. That's what caused inflation. When they kept printing money for COVID uh, uh, pandemic money and giving states money, the cities money. They kept printing money like it was like free. It was like, man, everybody getting money. And money, 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 quick. It was print, print, print. And without any backing, there was no backing, there's no asset backing our dollar. Like before we had the gold standard. Gold was backing our dollar. So it was an asset back in the dollar. So uh, if the dollar went too low, that asset will you can cash in that asset. But we don't have any asset back in this dollar that we're printing. So that's what causes the inflation. Um, and in that, when inflation is at 8, 9%, they say, but I believe it's at 13 because I don't really trust anything that they say, the government says, right? So they would never tell you that the inflation is at 13%. But your pocketbook tells you that inflation is at 13, 12 to 13% because things are getting more expensive, but your income is staying the same. And this is why we are hitting, people are struggling in this economy because their income is staying the same and the price of material and goods is going up. But in housing, the price of material and goods are not going up. The price of labor has gone through the roof. Like it's hard to find something uh that's like you can't get the labor that you got 3 years ago because it's a different economy. You're gonna have to overpay. What you think you overpaying, you're really not because you gotta it's labor. It's like the labor is the cost. So I'm always saying that inflation uh is a direct cause of print money. Is the you can't give free money out and think that there's no consequence for giving free money out, right? There's always a consequence for giving free money. It's somebody got to pay for it. And so having that our tax dollars is paying for. But our income hasn't matched that. Most people income hasn't matched the amount of money they spending, right? Um, uh, my mom, she's a fixed income. She's on Social Security disability. She gets fixed income, and they said, well, we're gonna give an 8% raise on your Social Security benefits next year. Well, if inflation's at 13%, that $140 is gone. It's eaten up in cost of gas, cost of food. So she's not seeing the increase. How about make it 20% for Social Security, right? You know what I'm saying? Let it be over what inflation is. How does Social Security be under? You talking about, people bragging about how much they gave Social Security a raise, but if it's under inflation, what are you bragging about, right? So, no, I'm not in the politics like that, but I'm into like being honest and looking at it what it really is, and not living in a fantasy world. This is what it is. They have inflated the price of money, and we are all going to struggle. Do I think interest rates will rise? Yeah, I think interest rates probably will hit 10 to 11% in the next year. Do I think it'll filter off after that? Yeah. But I think that the damage of 2020, 2021 is what we are facing right now. No matter who's in office, it doesn't matter. They printed money. You printed money on the Trump, you printed money on the Biden. It doesn't matter. They both printed money. So this ain't a Republican or Democrat thing. They both like open the checkbook and start writing checks. And, and you know, people ain't gonna turn the money down. Like, why would you? You know?
Yeah.
Uh, but at the end of the day, it caused a hemorrhage in the market. And I don't know if it's purpose driven or if it's I can say it's purpose driven. But I think that it's setting the stage up for affordable housing, and that's so giving again. That's printing again. You know, um, in Austin today, they passed a $400 million uh, affordable housing grant. Uh, and you're like, why is inflation happening? Because they spend $400 million on affordable housing. Instead of helping people raise their income, they trying to give them entitlement to keep not to raise their income, not to push them to get higher income. It's like this, we're gonna keep you here in this box so that you can afford to live where you want to live. And that's not the case, man. That's putting a cap on people. And I believe people need to wake up and be smarter so they can actually grow out of that cap, break out of that cap, because that cap is set up for you to live way, way, way below what you should be living. You know, um, I'm an advocate. My son's teachers and school, the teachers in the school, I'm always sending them emails of thank you and appreciation because um, they're not being paid well. They should be paid on merit. I think teachers that are really good should get paid more. I think teachers that are poor shouldn't be getting paid what teachers that are great. You're like getting the same pay, right? If my teacher is teaching that and I'm was not a great student, but when I left her class, I become a great student, she should get paid more money. You know, I mean, it should be an incentive program for teachers so they can grow and get more money instead of this baseline teaching. You get this, you get that, and there's no incentive for them to be the best. But then you get teachers that are the best. They should get paid for being the best. You pay for everything else being the best. You pay for a pro athlete who's the best at his field. He gets big dollars, but you're telling me teachers are stuck at their average salary. There's no paying for their like. If my science teacher, that science teacher is the best teacher in school, she should make 120,000 a year, 150,000 a year, 200,000 a year, and she shouldn't feel no type of way about it. It's because she worked hard to show that and she has fruit for her labor. Those kids are actually growing in her class. So that's what I think that those entitlement programs have caused inflation. To get back to that inflation point, because I go down a rabbit hole and get lost in a rabbit hole, and then that's you have to dig me out of that hole. Like, bro, come back up. You done went way outside of the box of thinking where we went. But yeah, that's what caused inflation. I believe that's one of the things I wanted to discuss was the inflation and and then how do you thrive during a time of inflation? You look for opportunities. Um, you don't fit in that box anymore. You find ways to increase your income. Whether you got to get with an insurance company and get into sales, get into real estate sales. Even if you feel like real estate is a bad time to get in, it's no better time to get in real estate when everyone else want to get out of it, right? Insurance sales, get in insurance sales, get in car sales, get into anything that will increase your ability to sell because selling actually creates your own economy, right? Because you're working for commission. That means you're going to bust your tail to work hard because I got to eat. But I think people need to figure out a way to increase their income. When the government don't want to increase it, when employers don't want to increase it, you figure it out. Figure out a way to increase your income, right?
Yeah.
Um, just figure it out. Like there's opportunities out here. You just gotta search them out, right? And don't be okay with be okay with working for free, right? I work for free in order to get this loan, this deal I had. I work for free. I literally work 6 months for free. No GC fees. No, I work for free. And when I finished the house, I went to the lender. I said, Zach, hey man, you got anything else you need me to do? Sure do. Got 7 lots. You ain't got to put no money down. because your work ethic is insane. I got a seven. I signed a $3.4 million deal based off my work ethic and willing to work for free.
Wow.
And
That,
people that willing to work for free,
yeah.
like willing to do it for free, man. It's like insane, but that's what separates you. You what you good at and what you willing to do. And if you're willing to put the work effort in and work for free, and people see the value that you bring, they'll give you an opportunity. They will give you something that will bless you and
Yeah.
take it to the next level. But most people don't want to work that way because that entitlement mentality. Going back to that entitlement, they don't want to do it.
Yep. No, absolutely. And, for a lot of people, that can seem so far fetched. Like, oh, look at Dante, he's done all this. And, it's easy for him to say, but it sounds crazy, right? Basically going from 0 to 100, right? You're going from maybe a smaller deal to doing 7 and not even getting paid on the front end. How did that whole thing go down?
Okay, yeah. So when we met each other, I was in the middle of GCing a project, and I wasn't getting paid. My wife was the agent on the house, and I was just the general contractor, but I was helping her with the agency side. I wasn't listing it. I was just going out there trying to complete the project, hiring contractors, uh, hiring plumbers. They trust me to hire those people. Send them the invoice. Nothing, no money passed my bank account, past my hands. Uh, Whatever check that need to be taken to that contractor, I will pick the check up from their office and bring it to the contractor personally. Uh, and I did those things not expecting what was next. I didn't know what was next. I didn't know they even had anything. And I went to that builder's walk with you, and we was walking through the builder walk, and I was like, man, I can do this. I can build homes. I know I can. I can build homes. They ain't doing nothing that I know I can't. Right. So I was talking to you. You was in the lending side of it, working for a company, and I was like, man, how do I get started in this? And you gave me some information, and I reached out to Justin, our broker at the time, and I said, Justin, man, man, I want to build houses. Uh, Man, I ain't got no capital. I ain't had the money to put down 20% down on a loan to build a house or even buy a lot. I didn't have it. I was like, he said, reach out to Zach, man. Reach out to the Long Ranger Capital, man. I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. Hey, reach out to him. So I reached out to Zach. I texted him. I said, hey, can I come in and talk to you about maybe building houses? Maybe how do I get started? Teach me some things. I wasn't afraid. Um, and I went in his office and we sat there and talked 30 minutes about everything. Nothing about real estate. We talked about politics. We talked about COVID. We talked about, and we had our views were similar. Our thought process was similar. And he was like, "Man, I'm gonna do something for you. I got 7 lots in Lago that are foreclosed on. I'm gonna do a sweetheart deal for you. I don't like to tell me I'm a sweetheart deal. I'm a man, so sweetheart that we don't do sweetheart. But he was like, nah, I'm gonna do a sweetheart deal for you. It's gonna blow your mind if you take it on. I was like, okay. He said, I'm gonna give you 7 lots, 7 different lots. Uh, and I'm gonna give you the money to purchase the lots, and I'm gonna give you the money to do the construction. And all you have to do is give me $1,000 for earnest money. I was like, well, I never built the house, so you want me to build 7? He's like, yeah, all or nothing. You can't do one. You can't do one at a time. You gotta take all 7. I said, man, this is crazy. I went home, told my wife. I mean, I was like, I still can't believe it. I walked in the house, told my wife was like, boy, stop playing. Ain't nobody about to give you a loan with $1,000 down. Ain't nobody about to give you that kind of money. Ain't nobody about to give you that kind of money with $1,000 down. And I was like, yeah, he said it. So on our anniversary, we went to South Padre for our 18th. Was it 18th, 17th, 19 years, 17th year anniversary. We went down to South Padre, and while we was down there, he sent over the loan docs certifying that we got the deal. And I was man, I almost jumped out my skin because I just could not believe that the principle was I literally worked for free for 6 months and I walked out of there 6 months later. So I walked in there and we got the listing in October of 2019. By October of 2020, I signed a multi-million dollar loan to build houses. So in 1 year time frame of working for free for 6 months turned into a multi-million dollar loan to build 7 homes. And man, I just could not. I can't. You people say, it's hard to tell this story because people are like, man, that's not going to come my way. But you never know. You never know what comes your way. I'm no different. I'm not special. I didn't do anything special. I just worked hard. I just didn't quit, no matter how hard it was. Man, that house was horrible. It had rats this big and possums and foxes and everything in the house. Think of there was all kind of animals running around the house, but nobody lived in it. So man, we had to go in there and get rid of everything. And it was, man, it was amazing, amazing journey in doing that. And now I have so much experience in building homes that um, I can teach a master course on it. Because
Yeah.
I'm building 7 homes at one time. So I know how the failures of overspending on material, overspending on labor, understanding some people you got to fire, designers that you couldn't work with, just a whole gamut of things that I learned in that process. And we lost money, we made some mistakes, but man, I wouldn't trade it, man, for the world, man. It taught me about working hard and being consistent. And if I have one message for everyone, is change your mentality and be consistent. I am known for being consistent. Um, People told me that, man, you are very consistent in life. If that's one character that I worked on, and I have many other character flaws. Don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect, but consistency is what I will hang my hat on for the rest of my life. Is being consistent.
Absolutely. And that's I guess first off, I know we talked about it briefly at the beginning of the show, and you going into more depth right now. That's an incredible story, really being able to scale up. I mean, people talk about scale up. It sounds so cliche, but that's the epitome of scaling up. You've seven deals you're doing all at once, take it or leave it, all or nothing. That's incredible.
Yeah, all or nothing, man. I still go talk to them now, man. Even about this new thing that we got coming. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop this because I just been it's been itching in my pocket, right? So what we got going on, right? So me and my wife went to the Kobe restaurant, a Japanese steakhouse on 2 weeks ago. We sat down. Our family came in and sat beside us. Kobe, they sit you. There's no matter. There's no sign seats. They just sit you down and hibachi cook in front of you. We sat down with a family of four, a husband and wife and two children. And, we talked about small talk for a little bit, talked about movies that we like. We like some of the movies. It was nice. It was cool. He asked us what we did for a living. We told him what we did. Um, and he just listened to our story. He listened to what we told him. And then before he left, I said, man, what do you do for a living? And he was like, I'm the creator of unscripted TV shows. I said, unscripted TV shows, like, yeah, unscripted reality TV. I said, okay. So what you done? He said, Pawn Stars, PAWN stars. So when I say I'm country, so people get confused, no, it's the hit show Pawn Stars. So you got this creator of Pawn Stars sitting, and he's talking to me, and I was like, and he was like, y'all got an interesting story. Email me. I said, boy, this dude playing. Ain't no way this guy is the creator. So I'm Googling him while he's talking to me. So he's the creator of what? He created the show. I am sitting with the guy who created the show. The show that is a hit show on cable, A&E, hit show on Netflix. It's actually on Netflix now. And he said he actually created the unscripted show. Um, And so we exchanged information. And he was like, "Here, email me. I love your story. I want to sit down. I want to talk to you, um, and get and tell I can tell you what I can offer you." And so we sat down. We had a meeting last Thursday, Zoom call like this. Uh, and he said, "Hey, man, you got an awesome story, and we got to document it. Is your lender willing to give you more money?" I was like, "Yeah." He said he would give me more money. He said, Dante got a deal. Dante deal. It's a separate deal than everybody else deal. Like, it's a Dante deal. Like, it's a different deal, which I don't understand it. Right? It's a Dante deal. Like, what's the Dante deal consist of? Well, the Dante deal consists of the same way I got the other 7 homes with no money down and no interest payments. It's the same way I'm gonna move forward. It's a Dante deal. And so he said, "Well, so what you got going on?" I was like, "Well, there's some acres I want to buy and I want to build a neighborhood." And he was like, "That's something that HGTV do. They do these 30-minute shows, but they don't really show the whole process." He's like, "You think your lender will want to sit down with me?" I said, "Yeah, I think he will." "You think your realtor want to sit down with me?" "Yeah, I think she will." "You think your wife, the designer, want to sit down with me?" "Yeah, I think she will." So now, Monday, this next week, we got a meeting where we talking about doing a show showing the whole process of acquisition, underwriting, loan, development, selling, buyer, closing, doing the process all over. And it's going to be a documentary and he's going to pitch it to it. He's going to build the show out and sell it to A&E. So our journey will be probably documented, you know. And
That's incredible.
man, who would have known, right?
Yeah. You know,
But
it's crazy, Dante. It's one of those things where, it's you could have gone to any restaurant in the city of Austin, right? You could have gone
yeah,
to McDonald's down the street, but you chose to go.
hey, look, man, we was gonna go to the Japan. Japan is on 35. Because me and my wife love hibachi because we like protein and rice and vegetables. Um, and we were gonna go to that one on Japan, and we pulled up. I was like, "No, I'm gonna go to Kobe. This ain't the one I want to go to." I said, "Okay, let's go." It's Sunday. It's our date day. Look, we date all the time, but it's like our Sunday, so let's go. And we sat down, and our lives changed.
Yeah.
And we so nonchalant about it, right? People talk to us, we be like, "Yeah, maybe we see." And that's my wrong mentality for me to have because it's so grander. That's a grander scale to where people will see what we did and what we're doing and how much value we can bring to the world so they can know that like a kid that don't have a college degree, a kid that was a F student in school, D and F student, didn't have the greatest grades, went to combat, 2 combat tours in Iraq, got a disability from the war, hurt my spine, like got uh, PTSD from fighting in combat. But none of that has stopped us from where we are today. My wife growing up in Brooklyn, New York, in the 80s, where crack epidemic was running rapid in New York, to be where she at today, like none of that is by accident. None of that is by uh, luck. All that is by pure determination and not quitting and not taking on a victim mentality.
Yeah, that's a great way to really bring it home here. Really that kind of that, not abiding by that victim mentality and having that can-do attitude. And, like we said at the beginning of the show, also having that house full of winners. So I think that's so cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's an enjoyment to have, man. I really have an enjoyment when I wake up every morning, man. I wake up to my beautiful wife and my kids, man, and um, I just enjoy my life, man. My life is really blessed. I wouldn't trade it in for nothing. You can't offer me anything for me to trade my life in.
Yeah.
I never sell my soul to for the finer things in life. I build my way up and never sell it or never sell my mind away. So I'm a free thinker.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I held back on this podcast because I could have went scorched earth,
Yeah.
but I didn't. I told my wife I wasn't going to do that. So
Yeah. We'll
I
save
did.
that one for a later date, right?
Oh, man, don't say it. No, man. Look, no.
Yeah.
But
Now,
no, man, this has been fun, man. This has been great. I love telling my journey. I love telling my story, man, because it's really not about me. Um, because really, honestly, I'm just an average person. Someone, anybody can do this, and I don't mind teaching it. So we got another thing that we're launching. We're gonna launch a development course, teach people how to go from starting a development, financing, understanding the pitfalls, uh, how to navigate through those things, and it's not going to be in a very expensive course. It's for people that really just need to get out of their rut. There, I'm not trying to make $1 million off a course that because I did it before. I taught courses before, but this is going to be something that's totally different. It should transform your life. So yeah, we're gonna launch some courses, some development courses coming up. So
okay,
got a lot of things
definitely.
a lot of
We'll yeah, I mean, definitely keep us posted on that in any way that, our audience can help with that. I'm sure there's, some folks listening out there that are, actively building right now, maybe looking to hone their craft, or even people who are looking to, to get started and really
yeah,
scale up like you have.
yeah, definite, man. I'm big at teaching and I learned a lesson though from one of my mentors about giving out free information. Like if you're on a podcast, then this is definitely free information. But if you're helping someone with their life and they're gaining valuable content and they growing, they should want to bless you for you helping them grow past that. Because I used to give out so much free information, man. I would talk to I can't talk anymore of free information, and at the end of the day, uh, it didn't. It was no monetary gain for me. So now I have to put in things in place to where, yeah, I'm giving information out of this caliber, then there's some monetary gain that I have to get back for that. Because you can't go talk to Grant Cardone. I know he charged $100,000 an hour, right? You can't. There's no way you're gonna talk to him or Patrick Bet David. You're gonna have to pay for those people that's on that caliber. And I see myself on that caliber of where they're at because I'm doing things like that. Maybe I'm not doing it on $1 billion scale, but at the end of the day, I'm doing it on a scale where it's affecting change in my household, my generation. So that information, I can't necessarily give that information for free.
Absolutely. And that's where it starts, in the household and then, and then to the world. So I think that's so neat, Dante. Maybe we're, here in Houston, maybe we're in Austin where you are, another part of Texas, another part of the country. And we want to connect with you. Where can we find you?
Instagram. Instagram and Dante. Let me see, make sure I got my Instagram handle together because sometimes I just be messing that up. Um, uh, Dante underscore the underscore developer. So Dante, DANTE underscore the underscore developer.
All right, very good,
Yeah,
Dante, the developer, and
yeah.
we'll make sure to have that in the show notes, along with any other links that you have.
Okay.
Really just your info, so people can connect with you, Dante. It's been great to hear your story, hear your journey, a lot of the ups and the downs, things you've
Yeah.
overcome, and really not only getting into the business, really growing and scaling up. And
Yeah.
man, it's cool to see because it seems like we're just getting started here. So looking forward to see what the future has in store for y'all.
Yeah, man. We definitely gonna do some great things, man. And there's another thing I didn't tell you on our little big scale of things. We're gonna have an entertainment wing, so we'll definitely be doing podcasts and entertainment part of real estate and different things like that, and bringing things on. So we'd love to have you when we launch a podcast. We'll bring you on, have you tell us about what you're doing in Houston and how you taking over Houston because you got to take over Houston, man. You down there, you got to take it over. I got some good people in Houston that I know that I love dearly, man, and they down there taking Houston by storm. I mean, they invited me to a conference in January to come, not to speak, which is I'm mad about, but whatever. They don't want me to speak, but they want me and my wife to come, and they doing some great things down there. So I think that that's a great area to be in Houston. Houston is anything that you're in these major cities like Dallas and Houston and San Antonio, man, you're gonna do great things, you know. And I think that you're gonna do great things because you're sitting here getting all this information from all these people that's on your podcast, man. I know you're grabbing this information, these nuggets, and taking them and download them in yourself and using them out there. I know you're gonna do it. I know. I see great things for you, man. You
I, I
know.
I appreciate the kind words, Dante. It's going to be real neat to see what happens these next few months and really these next few years going into the future. So, again, thank you so much for coming on the show, and we'll talk to y'all next time.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you.